All right, hey, what's up, guys? Coach Mac, PlayFast football. Today we're going to do a quick video on gap schemes, why I carry gap schemes, why I like gap schemes so much with what we think about in terms of PlayFast. All right, make sure you check out some of our partners. GameStrat, sideline replay company we use here at Bishop Kenny High School. I've used in the last 5 or 6 years. If you're looking for highly reliable, highly affordable, make sure you check out GameStrat. Dome Headwear, which is the hat company we use. Bishop Kenny High School, every high school I've been at in my head coaching career has used Dome. I use Dome with PlayFast football as well. If you're looking for completely customizable hats and a company that's run by former players, guys that have coached, guys that have been through what we've gone through, make sure you check out Dome Headwear. Baker Sports, which is a company we use for our sideline gear, spirit packs, coaches practice gear, fan gear. They're now in the shoulder pad business with pro gear. They also do a ton of work in the baseball field. So make sure you check out Baker Sporting Goods. JustPlay, which is the software we use for our playbooks. A lot of our meetings, a lot of our installs are done through the presentation mode. All right, in JustPlay, I use them with my Patreon site when I'm doing diagrams. So they've got a unique tool that it teaches kids about playbooks and game plans and lets you quiz them using videos and diagrams, and you can really find out how much your kids know about playbooks, game plans by using JustPlay. All right, DifferenceUSA, the ultimate striking machine. You get thousands of reps without needing a partner. All right, it's just you and a DifferenceUSA machine. It sets up right in your weight room on the racks, every rack inside of your weight room, so you don't have to worry about teaching somebody how to hold a hand shield, how to use proper leverage, how to get the right look from a quote-unquote scout player or whatever else it may be. It is just you and the ultimate strike machine. If you want to strike violently, you've got to practice striking violently. And then XandOnotebook, which is a company that makes completely customizable notebooks. You know, we spend a lot of time getting ready for meetings, prepping for meetings, making sure our meetings are going to be as organized as possible. I think we need to spend more time making sure players and coaches get everything out of those meetings. And the way we can do that is by giving them something that they can write on, write in. They know where the information is. Make them bring it to every meeting. Completely customizable, cover, back, anything you want, your schedule, a picture of your stadium, whatever you want on there. Your mascot, you can do whatever you want. And then if you've got a smaller budget, they can also place some ads inside or on the back cover where you can support some local businesses, and local businesses can support your program by selling some ads in there to help you out if you have a smaller budget. So check out XandOnotebook. So I think, for most of you guys who've been watching this channel for the last 10 years, you know that I'm a gap scheme guy. And one of the things we never really talk about is what PlayFast really means. And I think a lot of people originally thought that PlayFast was because we were a no-huddle, up-tempo offense. And, yeah, that kind of fit the bill a little bit for how we played on offense, but that's really not what PlayFast meant. PlayFast was a mentality, of teaching our players and going through practice routines and meetings and everything we do to get them to a point where the game, happens very quickly for them. Things that happen in the game are very simple because they've done them before. So it's kind of like if you play golf like I do, it's kind of like a pre-shot routine, So you've got your pre-shot routine, you've got everything that you go through so that if you have a shot, that is more important than another one for whatever reason. If you're playing in some type of tournament, if you're playing in some type of game against your friends and you've got a shot that you feel is more important for whatever reason, that shot is just a golf shot. It's got a pre-shot routine. You do everything the same. It's all about how you approach that, So for us, it's the same thing. If we approach everything in practice and we keep things as simple as possible and we teach them in a manner, that allows the kids to show up on Friday and play without a ton of thinking, that's really what PlayFast means, So sometimes we look at all the different schemes we do and all the different videos we do, and the thing I try to explain to people is you got to understand that doesn't mean if I do a video and we're creating content, that doesn't mean we're playing 38 coverages on a Friday night, There's Friday nights we've gone into games where we're only carrying 3 coverages and we're only carrying maybe 1 or 2 pressures, or we were only carrying certain runs, because the idea is I don't want kids to have to think a ton on Friday night. There's enough adjustments that have to be made during game that you want kids to have a toolbox that they can reach into and say, all right, I've seen this before, we've gone through it, these are my rules, this is what I do. And that's why I carry gap schemes, So that's why we were always, traditionally, predominantly a power counter duo, or our version of duo team, because gap schemes, to me, all right, are as simple and as efficient as possible, all right, and it allows kids to play multiple fronts and multiple movements and be able to get off the ball and play what I consider to be fast or almost free, all right, of any real crazy or overthinking or things that slow people down, right? So we all know that that player that thinks a little bit too much is always going to play slow. So play fast is a mindset, right? So we always carry power. So when we start power, you got your front side gap scheme, right? So you're down gap on the front side, working a double back side. The center knows he's always going back, okay? We would hinge the back side. We're going to kick if we're no read game involved, all right? We're going to kick the front side. We're going to wrap there, all right? We're going to run our simple power gap scheme. Right, so once that we have that taught, it doesn't really matter what the front is. Yeah, you're going to go through some game plan adjustments and say, okay, well, what if we saw a tight front team? Right, so what if all of a sudden this week we're seeing a team that's playing a bunch of tight front stuff? All right, well, yeah, maybe there's some slight adjustments to where you could say that you knew you were going to see tight front, so you're going to pull a tackle on the backside, leave the guard on. Those things are all right, within the toolbox that you're developing. But if you went out and you were playing, like I like to look at it, what if you went to a summer camp or a team camp with your team and you were playing 5 different schools and you have no idea what they're going to run? You can't sit in the huddle and draw every play up. So if we were blocking power and everybody had their rules on power, okay, and we said, all right, well, that's going to be the down block, that's going to be the down block, all right, the center's going to block back there. We're going to try and hinge the B gap, so we'll get a hand, almost 3.5 hands, or however you want to look at that, on the 4-eye backside. All right, and now we're going to kick the first thing that shows, okay, and now we're going to wrap on the second thing that shows. All right, well, maybe we can't get to, all right, the backside backer. Maybe we can't work a double team. Can we cut off the 4-eye, all right, and work the double team up there? Okay, but if they saw, if our players went out and saw a front that they never saw before and they just blocked their rules, there would be no panic involved. There would be no, all right, coach, what do I do? There's a 3, there's a 5, he's here, he's there. Everybody block your rule, all right, and then we'll work on the adjustments to the rule, or we'll work on the things that we have to adjust to figure out exactly how we can get everybody blocked that we need to get blocked, right? So if you saw a 3-3 stack team and you hadn't seen it before, all right, and your kids come out and they say, all right, we haven't practiced it, haven't seen it. They line up and they give you that look, all right, and they're stacked in the box, all right, and you look and you say, okay, well, what would the rules tell you? All right, so my rules would tell me down, there's nothing inside, down gap, I go to backer. My rules tell me down gap, all right, nothing backside for the center to block back on, so we can double a nose, we can go back. My rules tell me to hinge. My rules tell me to kick the first thing. My rules tell me pull and wrap, all right, look on, over, inside, outside, whatever your rules are that you teach your puller, right? So no matter what the front was, you know that your kids are going to have a rule that they can line up and they can get off the ball and they can play as fast and as free as possible, right? We all know that we're going to make certain adjustments. We all know that we're going to work on different things to say, okay, how are we going to handle certain fronts, right? So like if you go back to the tight front, we all know that we're going to draw up our beaters and we're going to work on our game plan stuff for your tight front, all right? And the first adjustment usually you see here, all right, is so you can get the double on the nose. You see the down block, double on the nose, back to the will, leave the guard on, and now we pull the tackle on power. So we made one slight adjustment, right? You're always going to have to make those minor adjustments, but what you don't want is you don't want plays you have to carry, all right, and things where every time the front is not exactly what you thought, your kids have to think about what they're doing, right? So if we got even front set the other way, so if we got the 3 on the back side, and we got the shade on the front side, all right, and they had the front set like that, all right, well, the front side tackle on the power play nose, down gap, nobody there, keep going. Down gap, that's there, back block on the 3 technique. I got to kick the first thing, which is now that C-gap player, all right, tackle's going to hinge, guard's going to pull up there, right? So no matter what the fronts are, there may be certain fronts that have nuances to them that we've got to work on a little bit, but our kids can play fast, they can play relatively, all right, free, simple, easy. So as soon as we go to counter, it's going to be the same teaching as far as the front side players are concerned, right? You're just changing who the front side is. So now when you go back to a counter play, it's going to be the same teaching for the front side players. So now if this was the front side, down gap, nothing there, back to back, or down gap, man on, center's got to block back. All right, I've got to hinge, I've got to pull kick, I now become the wrapper. All right, so we've got the same scheme, so our kids can now, on the front side, the O-line coach has already taught the front side of the down gap scheme. Now he can get into the nuances of making the play better, working on double teams, working on departure angles, how we climb, where we're climbing, what the center's got to do on the back block, working how flat it might have to be versus certain techniques. Now we can build all the little things in because we've got a routine, almost like that pre-shot golf routine that says, hey, gap schemes, front side does this, center does this, puller does this, backside tackle. All right, yeah, we've got a guard that's got a kick now instead of wrapping. All right, so guard kicks, fullback wraps. Back in the older days when I was running offensive stuff 8, 9 years ago, we only ran power strong, counter weak, so that the certain guards only kicked out on counter and certain guards only wrapped on power. We made it even more position specific for them so they didn't have to carry multiple techniques so that we could refine the skills that they needed even more, right? So if we went to the counter play, nothing changes. It's still down gap, all right? It's still down gap for us. We know we're working down gap. We know the center's working back. We know we got a puller. We know we got a wrapper, right? So to me, we would carry power counter, and then you would start working all the different fronts. And originally, one of the things we would do once we got it taught is I would say, all right, guys, look, if we went out and had no idea the team we were playing, we had no film, we had nothing, put a front up there. All right, guys, block it. We would make our O-line and our fullback sniffer. All right, block that. All right, put another front out there. All right, block that. Put another front out there. Block that. So at least they had an idea of how to play. On defense, everything we do is check with me. All right, so our coverages, hey, 2 open, how do we play that? Go. Tight end flanker, how do we play it? Go. 3 open, how do we play it? 3 closed. How do we play a nub on the backside? So we build all those things in so that on Friday night, the kids see pictures and they just play. That's what PlayFast is, right? It's eliminating all that thought process on a game night to go, okay, well, that guy's over there, so he's shaded half a yard this way, so that becomes this combination, and that becomes, let's eliminate all that, and let's say, hey, this is a gap scheme, let's get off the football, let's get after people. So when we carried the duo scheme, all right, and a lot of people over the years say, oh, it's not truly duo, you can't run it without a tight end, you can't run it with, all right, this personnel group or that personnel group. Really, in theory, if you really wanted to look at it, duo becomes power without a puller. Duo's looking for 2 double teams, all right? So it's power without a puller. So the only slight change for us is the departure of the front side gap scheme goes to a front side backer, right? It's still gap scheme footwork. It's still gap scheme mentality. It's still all the same deals. We're still working on gap scheme doubles, all right? The departure's a little bit different now because now the double is there and that double is there, all right? And now we're back. We're not hinging a B gap. We're back. We've created a full gap scheme. So now all 5 linemen are full gap, right? So they're all blocking a traditional gap scheme with no puller, all right? And whether we tried to kick that or whether we read that, whatever it was, all right, on the backside, we've now tied a gap scheme in to where everything our offensive linemen are doing is gap scheme oriented. So no matter what the front is, we know that we can come out and we can block something, all right, without our kids having to think, all right, too much or slow down or worry about, you know, where guys are, where am I going? Well, if it's this front, I'm going to arc, but if it's this front, I'm going to down block. You're always going to build wrinkles into your game plan. You're always going to build beaters for a front or things that are giving you some issues, right? That's the step, 4, 5, 6 down the road. Step 1 and 2 is line up, get off the ball, know your assignments, right? Line up. Get off the ball, know your assignments, or back it up. Line up, know your assignment, get off the ball. That probably makes more sense, right? And let's have kids that play fast. Let's have kids that play physical. Let's avoid the thinking of everything that we're doing, of the kids having to come out and go, okay, well, if it's that front, then we're going to block it this way. But if it's that front, we're going to block it that way. If it's that front, we're going to block it a different way. Okay? Yes, you're going to have wrinkles. No, you can't block the same play every single time. I know it's not that simple. But if we take the approach as coaches to try and make it that simple, all right? We try on defense with a tight front. I try to keep every run fit as simplistic and as, same as, if you want to look at it that way, all right, as I can. So when I try to change fronts, I'm trying to keep it in a way that even when I go to 4 down, I'm trying to fit it like I fit my tight front 3 high. Even when I go to, or add a 4th rusher, I'm trying to fit it the same way because I don't want my kids to have to think about multiple ways of fitting something because when they think, they play slow, right? So why do we carry gap schemes? Because I think it allows you to play fast. What does play fast really mean? Doesn't mean no huddle. Doesn't mean up tempo. Play fast means I can line up, I know my assignment, and I am going as hard as physically possible, trying to do my job to the best of my ability. All right, I line up, I see a formation, I know the coverage I'm playing, I can play that coverage based off of what they do, based off the blocks and the routes I see, and I can fit runs based off of the blocks I see because I've done it 1,000 times. I've got a pre-shot routine. It's simplistic in its nature. All right, nothing in football is ever going to be simple. I would never stand here and tell you that. There's always going to be game plans. There's always going to be tweaks. There's always going to be wrinkles. All right, but for me, it was always about playing keeping things as simplistic as possible. Power strong, counter weak. No matter how many different videos I did, no matter how many times people would say, well, you guys, you carry all these things. How do you play fast? Well, we run power strong, we run counter weak. That's one of the ways we play fast. All right, we word associated plays. So all of our power plays started with P words. All right, to where the kids knew every P word was going to be a power play. All right, they go strong, they go weak. All right, counter goes weak, power goes strong. Flip the formation, now power can go to the left because the strong side is on the left. So we really did keep things as simplistic as possible. All right, and some people have used the term rigid at times, or a little bit, or not dynamic enough, so to speak. But for me and my kids and my staff, it was the best way that we could play aggressive, play fast. The mentality of playing fast is playing with a free and a clear mind. Think about that golfer with a pre-shot routine. I've got this shot, I've got the yardage, club's picked, where's my spot, how do I line up, how long does it take me to hit the shot? I should do that every time. All right, so I hope you guys are doing well. I appreciate everything you do for me. All right, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn that notification on, ring that notification bell so you know every time we do a video, every time I go on YouTube Live. All right, and make sure you leave a comment. I respond to every comment that I get on my end. Thumbs up, thumbs down if you like the video. Don't like the video, if you have any ideas for videos, leave that in a comment. I will try and get to them. Hope your summer's off to a great start. Hope your spring season went well. I hope everybody's healthy. Hope you guys are getting off to a great start in the summer, and I hope you enjoy yourself as a coach and get some time away, recharge, re-energize, get some time away from the games. When you come back, you're fully invested into what you're doing. Appreciate everything you guys do for me. Remember, you won't play well until you play fast. I will see you guys next time.